Hello, I love you. Won't you tell me your name? My name is Evan Rogers, and I'm gonna teach you some Japanese. JLPT N5 vocab. We are on number 29. I think this is video number 76. As you can tell, I'm still in my stately white t-shirt and jeans. I'm not actually wearing jeans. Take a guess what I'm wearing. Comment it below, and I will let you know if you're correct. I am wearing something, by the way. I'm not naked. That'd be weird. All right, so here we go. Let's go ahead and jump in here. We got このコーヒーは砂糖をたくさん入れましたから blank です. All right, like I said, this is vocab. We need to know what goes here. So in order to know what goes there, basically you only really need to know a few words, but let's give it a shot. So we have kono, which means this, and then because of that no at the end, it means this, and then whatever noun comes after it. So in English, the word can mean this. I have this. Or I can use the word this as in I have this coffee. Does that make sense? This can be a noun, and this can also be sort of, to make it simple, we'll call it an adjective. So we could say this coffee is mine versus this is my coffee. Do you see how those have slightly different usages? This is kind of this kono is operating like this coffee or this thing or this cheeseburger. And indeed the next word is coffee or kohi, coffee. So kono kohi, this coffee, once again, kono, in a few videos ago we talked about this. Kono is in the koso, is one of the koso do series. We have kono, sono, ano, dono. And that pattern, ko, so, do, where ko stands for near the speaker, so stands for near the listener, stands for away from the both of us, and do is the interrogative, the question word of the bunch. For example, like which one? That pattern of ko, so, do appears in many different areas. We have kochira, sochira, achira, dochira, koko, soko, asoko, doko, konna, sonna, konna, sonna, anna, donna. Ko so a do, like I think ko yu koto, so yu koto, do yu koto, I think in that pattern it's just which is interesting. Anyway, so hopefully you get the idea. Depending on what comes after the ko so a do, it changes kind of the meanings. But this meaning is this followed by a noun. Kono kohi wa, the wa particle saying, as for this coffee and nothing else am I talking about. I am only talking about this coffee, nothing else. What comes after this applies only to this coffee, and what comes after it is quite important. Okay, so then we have sato. It could be somebody's name, but really it's sugar. Do, 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 do. Oh, honey, honey, sato. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing. Sato is sugar. So sato o taksan. In the previous video, we had taksan. It meant plentiful, many, a lot. So lots of sugar. Taksan iremashita. Okay, so we have ireru, iremasu, iremashita. Notice the idea of, really quickly, notice how mashita is, as we talked in the previous video, complete form. So it is past tense. It is done happening. So iremashita has already happened. It is done happening. And then notice how des is not past tense, okay? So this is an interesting juxtaposition because iremasu means to put something into something else, so to enter into. So iremasu is when you take a thing and you put it into something else. You insert something. And I'm going to refrain from making horrible jokes because I am a chivalrous man. Adulting. However, there is another verb that's very similar to the word enter, which is, maybe you were thinking this before, hairimasu, H-A-I-R-I-mas. Hairimasu, which is something enters into something. Iremasu would be what we call transitive, where the subject puts something, the subject takes an object and puts it into something else, whereas hairimasu is the subject just on its own somehow enters into an object. So hairimasu is something enters, whereas iremasu is somebody's put something into something. So hopefully that makes sense. Transitive and intransitive pairs. If you don't know that differentiation and this is the first time hearing it, start trying to get that idea. A subject taking an object and then acting upon the object versus the subject doing it on its own. That's transitive versus intransitive. Okay, so anyway, このコーヒーは as for this coffee, 砂糖をたくさん入れました. I put a whole bunch of coffee in it, or a whole bunch of sugar in this coffee. As for this coffee, I put a bunch of sugar in it. And then we have kara, which means because of. Remember? Like this will be the 19th time I've said this. Particles modify what comes before it. So when we say this means because, it means because of what came before. Because of what came before it. So because I put sugar in the coffee, there is a resultant effect. And that's how kara works. So just remember that very quickly. Be careful. Don't translate it as sato takusan irimashita. Like, don't translate this as, the subject I put a bunch of sugar in the coffee because of whatever comes after. So be careful about that. Kara goes to because, like, you almost want to move it to the beginning. Because I put a whole bunch of sugar in the coffee, something happened. That'd be the correct translation. Okay, so because I put sugar, as for this coffee, because I put a bunch of sugar in it, the same coffee is something. So des generally translates to is, and it is whatever this is. We have 4 e adjectives. We have wakai, which means young. No, because I put sugar in my coffee, the coffee is young. That doesn't make any sense. By the way, if you want to learn about e adjectives, for the $5 level last month, the reward was a giant packet on e adjectives, which if you ask me, was fantastic. Basically, everything E adjective related was in that book. So anyway, lots of E adjective stuff in there. Number 2, kuroi, which is black. And that's black as an adjective, not like the color black, but this is much more something is described as a black book. That kind of makes sense, but I don't know why if you add sugar to something, it would be... If you add sugar to coffee, you wouldn't really be... Because I added sugar to coffee, it's black. That's not a cause and effect. I mean, you can kind of see how that works, but not really. And also, I don't know. Do they describe coffee as kuroi? I know they use koi for strong, so that's what I would have thought would be there. Anyway, marui, round. That doesn't make any sense. Hey, guys, let's put some sugar in some coffee and make it round. No sense, heavy by you. The last one is amai, which is sweet. It can also mean not spicy or mild. However, here it means sweet. Because I put a bunch of sugar in the coffee, it is sweet. このコーヒーは砂糖をたくさん入れましたから甘いです. So このコーヒーは as for this coffee and not anything else. I'm talking specifically about the coffee, nothing else. So there's a hidden subject here. I 砂糖をたくさん入れましたから. So because I put a whole bunch of sugar in the coffee, 甘いです. It is sweet. That's what's happening in this sentence. Have yourself a great day. Peace out.